Today I wanted to talk to you about thoughts and about words. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the term manifestation. I believe most of you who are watching have some general idea as to what it means, um, as did I for a very long time, and I thought I had a pretty good general understanding of what it was. Now, how to actually achieve that, well, that was different. Um, One of the things that I kind of wanted to talk to you more so about was how every thought and every word creates the reality in which you live right now. And we are very powerful beings, and we are able to create our own reality every second of the day, every day of the week, every day of the year. We actually create our reality in every moment that we live, and with every thought that we generate in our brains, and every word that comes out of our mouth. So, a good thing is to be mindful of your thoughts and your words. And that might not come easily, especially if you are in a position right now where perhaps you're feeling depressed or anxious, or you're in some sort of negative pattern or downward spiral. Now, I have been through many of these myself, so I happen to have a lot of experience with that, and I definitely understand how difficult the mind trap is. Essentially, it's just a mind trap. Um, there have been many times which I have gone through in my life and wish that I had had this knowledge that I have now. I'm not saying that I don't still fall into these, because when I'm going through some very deep shadow work, I definitely fall into some of these moments where it's so difficult, it's so hard, it's so sad, it's so painful to go back and deal with any of these emotions, that sometimes it sends me spiraling downwards into another depression. Now that I have the understanding that I do have, I'm very grateful for that, because now I understand how I can actually alter that and get out of it. And sometimes it still takes a few days. I still go through that wave of depression and feel like I'm never going to get out of it and have the negative thought patterns and cycles. But then I start to implement some of these positive things that I know essentially enable me to create a better outlook, a better reality. And it happens to improve a lot faster now than it used to. In the beginning, when I started going through this shift, I should say, I was in all of these negative thought patterns, and I was finding it very difficult day to day just to get through the days. And after realizing a few things, I started making and implementing changes in my life that altered my life dramatically. I started being mindful, very mindful of what I was actually thinking, and to stop myself almost like a trigger. It was almost as though I was able to put a switch in my head that when I started having these negative thought spirals or patterns come into my head, it wouldn't take long before I would realize that was what was going on, and that I could actually have a say in it. Realizing that you have a choice in it is probably the most empowering thing that you're going to learn in the very beginning. That it is your choice. It's 100% your choice whether or not to go on that ride or not. If you want to go down the rabbit hole, you can do that, but that's your choice. And being okay with that then is fundamental. If you choose to have a brighter outlook, that is also your choice. It may not be easier because our conditioning makes us more prone to want to follow the negativity. It's a lot easier to follow the negativity, just as it is, you know, to follow any negative energy. You get sucked into it. You also choose to go into it. And for some of you, that might seem really hard to understand, oh, it's my choice to be in postpartum depression, or it's my choice to be in this. Well, I completely understand the outlook that it would be very difficult to understand anything else. And I know that from personal experience because I have been there. And it's like nobody understands you. Nobody understands what you're going through and how hard it is and how hard it is, except for you. But I'm here to tell you that that's not the truth. Many people go through this. Everybody goes through this at least once in their life. They go through a depression. And the thing that we don't realize is most of the time it's due to our circumstances. It's due to the suppressed emotions or feelings that we shove deep down in ourselves that we don't deal with. Those are the fragmented parts of ourself as well that we push into our shadow side, don't allow to walk beside us or be integrated within us. All of these things create a lethargy within us. They create depression, they create anger, they create all of these issues, anxiety. And if not dealt with, then they have to come out somehow. And they come out in the form, they manifest themselves in the form of these other illnesses. Now, that being said, creating a shift, one of the things that I did for myself that really impacted my life dramatically was essentially just being grateful. That was the very start of making the shift. So one was recognizing the patterns within me. As soon as I started going down this rabbit hole, I would actually sing positive thoughts out into the universe. I would sing it. And the reason that I would sing it was because it's really hard to actually be angry or anxious or depressed or sad when you're singing a lovely song that actually activates your chakras and makes you feel happy and love. And that's why you create the song yourself, because it's going to vibrate at the frequency in which makes you happy. If it doesn't do that, then you need to change the tune or the tone of the song. So then that's all I was doing. I was doing positive affirmations essentially in the beginning. I would just sing and sing it over and over and over. And it was literally just a short little bit that I would just sing over and over and over. That was the first thing. The second thing I included, I should say, is actually the gratitude. So being grateful for what I had. Now that might seem like a really small, insignificant thing, but many studies actually show that just being grateful for one thing a day, regardless of how small that one thing is, even if it's just, I'm so very grateful that I have this warm cup of coffee this morning. I'm so very grateful that I woke up and I get to live today. Even as much as I'm so very grateful that I have clothes on my back. It doesn't have to be big. It could seem like it's very insignificant, but really it's not. Studies show and prove that if you can be grateful for one thing, even one thing a day, that it can elevate you out of depression, out of anxiety, have a better sleep, be more relaxed, almost the same effects as somebody who meditates daily. Many of the same effects, in fact. And that's another thing we'll touch base on later on is meditation, because a lot of people have a really difficult time meditating in today's society. So we'll touch base on that later. But if you can do something that you're not scared to do, a lot of people are scared to meditate, then why not? Why not just implement those two things in your life and see what kind of shift it makes for you? What I recommend is either a journal or gratitude jar. I do both. When I wake up in the morning, and yes, I have a baby, and I do have a 3-year-old, so getting some time to myself is rather difficult, especially when they're both early morning risers. So what I do is I get up an hour early. I put the coffee maker in my room. Yes, I still drink coffee. I put the coffee maker in my room and I wake up an hour early. That way I can write down all the things that I'm grateful for. And what I started to do was I would write down 3 things that I'm grateful for in my personal life. So that could look anything like, I'm so grateful that I have a roof over my head, or I'm so very grateful that I have a reliable vehicle in the winter in Canada. I'm so very grateful that that person bought me a coffee in the lineup. I'm so very grateful that I actually have food in my fridge. You know, that could be anything. It could be big, it could be small. I know when I was in this negative thought pattern, it's really hard to find things that I was grateful for. I started small. And then once my perception shifted into a more positive, loving outlook, the things got bigger and bigger. The other thing that that I do write down is 3 things that I'm grateful for in my career. Now, my career right now is stay-at-home mom, and I'm looking to expand that into doing readings for people in the future once I get a handle on my energy. So right now, and at that point with the negative thoughts, I really had a difficult time thinking about what I was grateful for in my career. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, I'd love to stay at home and be with my kids, and I love doing that. But I hit this plateau where I really wasn't feeling challenged anymore. I wasn't feeling like the job that I did mattered. I wasn't feeling like anybody was appreciating it anyways. All of the things that I did, cooking from scratch, doing all of these above and beyond things, didn't bring me any more inner peace. Kind of like that next promotion. So it took me a long time. And even though I have a lot to be grateful for, it was difficult when I was in a depression to find those things. So I also started small there. It's not impossible. You can do it. You just have to start somewhere. And then the next thing is writing 3 things that you absolutely love about yourself. So you're grateful for them, but you would write them in the sense of, I absolutely love my sense of humor, or I absolutely love my eyes. I absolutely love how generous and kind and giving I am. Whatever that may be, write 3 things about that. I also keep the gratitude jar right by the kitchen table so that at lunchtime we sit down as a family and we eat, and we all write down what we're grateful for. Well, I write it down for my child, and we put it in the jar. And then at the end of the month, we get together as a family and we sort them all out for whoever's they are, and we actually read them all out loud. And that actually gives your self-esteem quite a boost. And just being grateful continuously is going to shift your perception, shift your heart, and shift your mind into this brighter outlook that I'm referring to. So with that, I will bid you farewell, and I look forward to seeing you again. If you want to leave any comments below, or you like what you see, let me know. Subscribe and like my page. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.